Rock and roll, Andy Hoare. Welcome to Friday 15 with Master B2B. My name is Brian Beck. I'm here with my partner in this intergalactic thought leadership series where we pull people from the future, as you will see soon. Andy, welcome to Friday 15.
Good to be here. Good to be here. Middle of college football season. So we got a few good games coming up this weekend. That'll be fun to watch.
No, it won't be.
Oh, wait, is Rutgers playing or did they discontinue the program already?
Oh, shut up, dude. No, we didn't discontinue the program, although I've discontinued watching. Well, we have Washington tonight. So, and Washington has, they've been.
No, you got that wrong. Washington has you tonight.
Oh, well, pretty much. It's at Washington. The Huskies have us, and remember Washington, the runner-up to the national championship. Now we did beat them 2 years ago. I will tell you, or last year, but that probably won't happen this year. How's your what is it? The Providence Community College. Is that your team? I think. All right, folks, we got a really interesting and exciting Friday 15 today. We got to get into our topic rather than debate college football. This is not a sports show, Mr. Hoare. Okay, so let's get into our breaking news. Andy, did you see this? Billionaire investor Mark Andreessen says AI destroying jobs and making everyone poor is a fallacy. And even if that did happen, prices would drop. What's he talking about?
Oh, I love this. Well, we love anything AI on the show. And when I saw that story, I thought, this is classic. So everybody's worried about AI destroying jobs, net gain, net loss. That's a whole nother discussion for another day. And we've had it many times and we'll continue to have that conversation. But what I love about this story is that this, I think, is the way Silicon Valley, I'm going to do a gross characterization here, generalization, but this is the way they think about this stuff. Well, maybe that'll happen, but if it does, prices will come way down. So you won't have a job, but what you can afford will be really inexpensive.
Great.
There's a serious point, though. There is some truth to this because the greatest component cost of any product service is labor, right? And if labor were to come down dramatically in price, then there's some truth to this, that things could get precipitously cheaper.
Maybe
dramatically cheaper, right? And energy is another one, right? I mean, energy is very expensive right now, but we will move to nuclear. And once we do, the price per kilowatt hour is going to plummet because nuclear is ridiculously inexpensive. So it's almost like a parallel for what could happen with prices in general.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, he was talking about AI and the fallacy of it. And so we're going to actually talk a lot today about AI. In fact, our topic today is getting unstuck with AI. So, Andy, we have all these businesses that have said, hey, they don't know how to move forward. I mean, we're going to do a recap of our roundtables in a couple of weeks as we finish them out. But one of the things that I'm hearing around the country as we go to our regional roundtables is companies really don't know where to start or how to kind of frame up their investments in AI. There's a pressure around it. People are saying, hey, the boards and the C-suites are saying, invest in AI. Well, what do I invest in? The companies, in fact, I was in Minneapolis recently for a roundtable and asked the question, how are you guys thinking about AI? And, it's fascinating because a lot of folks, they can get funding for these things, but they don't know what to fund. And so, and then there's the issue of getting, sort of just getting unstuck, getting started. Where do you go? And so we asked our audience this week, Andy, what are the primary reasons B2B executives get stuck on AI and don't move forward with embracing this powerful new technology? And the number one answer, 36%, is I don't know where to start. Where do you go? There's less, there were some people that said, I don't see the business value, or I fear disruption, to Andreessen's quote, or it's too complicated. But, a full third said, I don't know where to start. And that is really what we're talking about here today. In terms of our topic is where do you get started? And we have a very special guest. So when we want to understand, Andy, things, about a new topic like AI, we of course have special powers here at Master B2B. So we go to the future, right? So we pull people in from the future. And we have a futurist with us today, someone who is a fantastic speaker and just an authority on this topic and an author and everything else. Andy, I'll let you do the introductions, but who do we have joining us today, Andy?
Yeah, so Dr. Lisa Palmer is joining us today. And so we got to know Lisa several months ago. And we were very impressed with what she had to say. She's written a book, which we're going to talk about here in a moment. But I was putting together this slide yesterday and thinking, when does this woman sleep? I mean, so she's the CEO of Dr. Lisa AI, which is an advisory services and consulting firm. She's the author of this new book, Show AI, Don't Tell It. She has PhD with a focus on AI. She has an MBA, and she studied engineering at its core. She's a professor, a speaker, and then in her prior life, she ran executive programs for Gartner. And I think even a prior life, she was the CIO and CMO of a couple of companies. So, Dr. Lisa, thanks for joining us today. Is there anything I missed on that list? I bet there is, but anything I missed?
Well, a lot of people don't know that I was a chief marketing officer, and I've actually taught marketing in an MBA program for over 15 years. So it's a good combo with everything that's related to tech, because you can't really divorce marketing from tech anymore.
Well, it almost seems appropriate that we're talking to you today where you are, because you're at LaGuardia Airport, even though it doesn't look like you're at an airport. And I think I saw, did you have a glass of wine there?
Excellent.
I do.
Right. Sweet. Cheers.
Excellent. Well, Brian drinks all the time, so that's perfect.
Right. This is bourbon in here, by the way. That's right. Here on the West Coast at 9 o'clock in the morning. Yes. Well, Dr. Lisa lives in that's the future LaGuardia Airport, by the way, everyone. I've flown in and out of LaGuardia. It's horrible. But apparently, Dr. Lisa tells me now it's very nice. Or actually in the future, it's going to be nice because she lives in the future. That's the future, everyone.
It is nice. It is nice. I did just for you though. I did bring my circa 2005 headset because my Bluetooth died. So
well, you have to relate to us somehow, us who live in the past.
Mm-hmm. try to keep a foot in both reality and the future there for you, Brian.
The new quantum realm you live in. Okay, excellent.
Well, so Dr. Lisa, you recently wrote a book, which I actually have a copy of. I just received mine yesterday, right there, awesome. Which will replace Brian's book on the shelf back there for sure.
Okay, great.
Brian, your book becomes a doorstop now officially, and then Dr. Lisa's book will be held in high esteem. So you identified there are basically 4 areas of common concern that companies seem to have around AI. Why don't you walk us through them? They're on the screen here, but why don't you tell us a bit about them?
Yeah, so I find that organizations are in one of these 4 areas. They're trying to figure out where to get started. So your poll was really interesting to see a full third plus of people falling into that space. The second is we started something, we had mixed results, and we're stuck. We don't know what to do or how to move forward from here. The third one is probably the smaller percentage. It's about 5% of organizations, according to the most recent MIT study, are they're hitting on all cylinders and they're ready to amp up, ready to move forward. And the fourth one is that, and this one unfortunately is like incredibly common. Your team is just afraid, and they're either overtly or covertly resisting. Those are those are the areas that we're finding people in right now.
No, I think this is very consistent, Brian. We've done these roundtables for the last several weeks, and we've asked this question ourselves, and that's very consistent with what we have heard as well, is it not?
It is. It's true, right? There's a fear of job replacement, and we talked about it at the Minneapolis roundtable just this week, Andy. People, the tasks that people, have traditionally focused on. I mean, think about development, software development, writing, marketing content, process related things related to publishing products on, e-commerce, and just a whole variety of tasks that can be potentially automated with AI.
Well, I got to tell you, we've talked about this in some of the roundtables I've been at too, and you notice, and I'm curious what you have to say about this, Dr. Lisa, but when we start talking about where this is going and what this means for people's livelihoods, everybody's really excited about AI. And then when that comes up, there's a noticeable change in demeanor. People's voices get more hushed.
Yeah.
They start to get a little reticent about what they're going to say. I actually asked people, simple question. Do you believe that AI is going to net create more jobs or destroy more jobs? and half the people wouldn't answer the question. I'm like, there's
Oh,
nobody here recording anything. Why don't you just share they're afraid.
yeah. So, I mean, personally, I think we're going to see net job creation. However, I think that it's going to be bifurcated in where the jobs are created. So I've been at a conference all week this week. I'm in New York. And one thing that's really obvious is that if you're worried that coding jobs are going away, I really want you to put that fear to the side, because I hear so many stories about the sheer volume of cleanup that is being required from vibe coding.
Right.
We're seeing coders are being, I mean, actually some of them, their incomes are skyrocketing as a result of the criticality of the role that they have in moving organizations forward. So I do see that continuing to happen. I am worried about what I think of as entry-level jobs, or jobs that are more heavily task oriented.
Yeah.
I do think that we've got an issue with those jobs and what's going to happen with those. But I do see, I mean, at least in the United States, we have jobs that are open that are not being filled. We have a huge number of trades jobs that need to be filled that aren't filled currently. So, I mean, I think that the future just looks different, like it does every time that we have a major leap forward in tech. It's going to look different, but I still believe it's a net job gain.
So Lisa, let's talk about the number one. Thank you for that. That's encouraging. There's hope for humanity. Excellent.
Yeah, and Andy, I answered that just for you, so I didn't sit here quietly and hope for the best.
There's hope for Andy too. I'm not sure where it is, but it's out there somewhere. So Lisa, the number one answer we got on that poll was where to start. So let's talk about some of the elements in your book related to where to start. And I think your first one is all about mindset, right? Tell us about this.
Yeah, I broke the book into 3 pieces: mindset, strategy, and action. You can't be successful leveraging any kind of major change without getting the right mindset for yourself from a leadership perspective, as well as making sure that all of those that you put into those key positions share that mindset with you. And there's 4 things that make up this mindset. You have to be hardcore focused on business value. I cannot talk about one more situation where a CEO is disgruntled that he didn't get ROI because they essentially picked some toy AI use case that was never going to drive ROI anyway, but it sounded really fun. So please focus on business value first. You've got to get really serious about that. The second is speed with rigor. And that if you think that not doing something is an option, that is not an option. Your competitors are coming for you. The entire ecosystem that your business is in is going to be changed. It's not just your business and your direct competitors. The entire ecosystem that you live and work inside of is going to get turned upside down. So you've got to do something. You have to move. You have to move with speed, but you need rigor. And when I say rigor, think about, how do you keep yourself out of the ditch? So ask yourself questions like, what is the worst thing that could happen? And then make sure that you're specifically designing to avoid that. I know that sounds super simplistic, but those are some of the things that we have to do. Over designing for rigor just means you're not going to get anything done. So remember, speed first with rigor. Simplicity means stop trying to make everything so hard. Simplify, simplify, simplify. That means the way that the language that we use, the architectures that we create, the business plans that we pursue. Think simple, and then superpower that with artificial intelligence, because it can help you move faster. It can help you scale more. It can help you personalize what you do for your clients, but you need to do it as simply as possible, because we have no idea who the winners and losers are going to be in this environment. And the more complex your solutions are, the more painful it's going to be to unwind it. Right. And then finally, don't over automate. I see this is already happening, where we're starting to see major fines come out. We're seeing customer dissat issues that are off the charts because organizations are trying to over automate. We've seen this happen when RPA hit the market years ago. So please design for human centricity. I call it human plus AI.
Gotcha. So let me get this straight, Dr. Lisa. So if I have the right mindset, I can replace Andy with agentic AI.
Okay, mindset's just the first component. Now we got to talk strategy and action. So
okay, well, let's talk about that. Okay, so good.
Don't throw him out yet.
Brian always gets stuck on the first part, the mindset, and he can't get out of that. It just swirls the toilet bowl, as I like to say. So let's talk about strategy, Lisa. So I got the right approach. My mind is set in the right way, but now I have to come up with a direction. Talk us through that.
So again, hardcore business value focus out of the gate. Don't do anything. You've got a go, no-go decision that is entirely based around business value creation. Next, there's so much you can do with AI. So think about your customers. There's so much you can do. So think about how do you make things better for your customers? That's where you can get started. Collaborative teaming. If you have an organization that is siloed and people hoard information and they don't share, you're going to struggle with artificial intelligence, which takes me to culture shifts, because organizations that are designed like this today, you better make some people changes and you better make some culture changes, because you will not be successful. You've got to work in a highly matrixed, highly interfaced way in an AI-powered world. And then, of course, data is the key to all of this. And you've got to make sure that you have a clear data plan. Please don't boil the ocean. Like, identify your business use case, and maybe you just need 10 pieces of data, not 1,000, right? Don't try to fix everything. I've literally stood in boardrooms where there was screaming and cursing and some throwing of things, because board directors said, what do you mean our data is not ready? We've been giving you millions of dollars for data for 2 decades. Why are you telling me that the data is not ready? Because being data ready for AI projects is different. So scope small.
That's fascinating. You know, what's interesting about that, Dr. Lisa, is that the fundamental hasn't changed, you know, over the last 20 years. Staying focused on the customer, understanding what their needs are, and AI is really a tool, right? So what's your third, your third component is all about action. Tell us about that.
Yeah, this is about action, and the way that the reality is that when you undertake something like this is a massive change management effort. And so you've got to capture hearts before you can capture minds. And the way that I have been successful with this over and over and over again is using literally a show not tell approach that use visualization tools. And I put dozens of these into the book. I also challenge executive leaders. If you have not tried these tools, know this: you cannot delegate learning. You cannot delegate learning. And so the way that you learn, and the fastest way that you learn, is to get hands-on with these tools. So if your audience takes away nothing today, except I'm going to go and I'm going to try a vibe coding tool like Lovable, or I'm going to try an agent building platform like Mind Studio, or maybe they haven't even tried something as simple as a chatbot. You know, maybe they're trying to delegate all of that. So use visualization tools, define your goals, select what tools you want to use. And by getting those tools out in front of your stakeholders, you start to capture hearts, which leads to capturing minds. And that's how you get people to move past the fear that we know is so prevalent.
So what you're really talking about here is, and that's a great quote, by the way, you can't delegate learning. I just stole that. So I'll attribute it to you, Dr. Lisa. Don't worry.
Good.
No, it's really good, because I think that's really true, right? So if you think about, you know, and I can say this of our business, Andy, the stuff we're doing here is, why do we feel, you know, confident in talking about AI, and why are we not afraid of it as a business, and how can we embrace it as a tool? Well, it's because we work with it. We're developing tools around it. We've got, you know, I use it all the time myself, and I think that's what you're alluding to a lot, Lisa, is, you know, at an executive level, right, getting people comfortable with using the technology themselves. You can't delegate that down to someone lower in the organization, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, you absolutely cannot. And there's nothing. I was in a room full of CIOs and CDIOs yesterday, and when I was talking to them about this, one of the gentlemen spoke up and said, I built something in Claude Code 2 weeks ago, and it has changed the way I'm leading my team.
Right.
A direct quote, right? Because once he experienced it himself, it reset his mindset around the art of the possible. And now he's leading in a different way. And that's what we need. We need every executive to get hands-on with these tools, because it will change the way that you lead.
Yeah. You know, Brian, this reminds me of is the conversation you and I have had many times before about, very similarly, you cannot delegate transformation.
Right.
We always laugh, Dr. Lisa, when we hear people say, oh, I'm the director of transformation. I'm like, well, there's a bunch of problems with that. There's only one person in charge of transformation. And it's the CEO, because if the CEO is not leading the transformation, it is not going to happen.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And, you know, it's interesting. So Dr. Lisa, thank you for that context. That's very helpful. And I think for our community, this is really a good framework to overcome that 1/3 of the challenge that people seem to have. Where do I start? So it really does start with mindset. And now I have a clear roadmap for my evil plan of replacing Andy Hoare with agentic AI. So thank you for that. I can now refine my prompts and get to a real Andy Hoare lookalike. So we'll test that next week.
I want to see that, Brian.
Yes, you will. You will. Don't worry. All right. Well, Dr. Lisa, thank you very much. We're up on time. We got to go to our announcements, and hang on for us here, if you would. We're just going to take you off stage for a bit here. And Andy, what an interesting interview with Dr. Lisa. She's really a fantastic resource, and encourage folks to take a look at her book. And you know, buy that. I just got, you got your advanced copy. I'm still waiting for mine, but it's coming soon. I think she promised she did. All right, folks, we got a couple quick announcements here as we go past our Friday, well past Friday 15, but it's been worth it. First off, folks, Master B2B Nexus is your personal B2B digital lifeline, providing expert advice exclusively for B2B e-com executives. This is like, you know, a speed dial advisory, or advisory on speed dial. Can I say speed dial anymore? That's really not a thing.
Your dial-up phone? Do you still have a wall phone with a long cord?
Yes, that's right. That's right. I got a cordless phone. You ever heard of those? I got it. I faxed in my order. So
were you pulling the antenna up? One of those?
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, it works pretty good. I can go like 20 feet out my front door. So anyway, it's pretty cool. So folks, Master B2B Nexus, encourage you to check it out. It is a paid service for practitioners. Go to our website, Master B2B, and take a look. It is impacting people's decision-making every day. What a great group. Master B2B Forum. By the way, Andy, I showed this slide to a room full of people from 3M and Solventum the other day, and they said Matt Palmer should be getting NIL money on the upper left there. I've seen him on the Jeff Hoogerhide said that. Thank you, Jeff, for that comment. Really funny, because he's been on this slide for about 2 years. Anyway, folks, our Master B2B Forum, go online to check it out. It is a private community online of B2B e-commerce executives. We've got hundreds of folks in there interacting every day, solving problems, answering questions, connecting with people. It's a wonderful community. It's free for practitioners only. So it's a great, transparent environment. And finally, I want to remind everyone that our Friday, 45 minutes here is available in podcast form. But hey, it's engaging and interesting. So
that's what we think.
That's what we think. We're a little biased. But check us out, podcast format on your favorite podcast service, Spotify, YouTube, Google, Apple, all of them. We're syndicated intergalactically and into the future, as Dr. Lisa will report. Anyhow, folks, take a look and please give us a rating and review, but only if positive. Thank you. And folks, we will, and this wraps our Friday 15 for this week. Oops, bad slide. Let me take that off. That was Andy Hoare's work, by the way. Thank you, Andy. Any final words before we wrap?
The avatar, Andy Hoare, which apparently you are now interacting with. It was
my
real one.
Yeah, my Gen AI is all screwed up, man. It's terrible. I need to rewrite the prompt. Okay, Andy, any final words before we wrap our Friday 45 minutes?
Yeah, so Dr. Lisa said a lot of interesting things. One thing that jumped out at me that we could probably have a whole conversation about is the cost of inaction.
Oh, yeah.
It's not something companies measure, but it reminded me at our event this week, swear to God, somebody actually said, we measure the cost of inaction. I said,
Really?
oh my God. They said, yeah, there's a cost to doing nothing, opportunity cost. We actually have a metric and a model around opportunity costs. So I'm like, wow, that makes one. And by the way, everybody should be doing that, but nobody does.
Exactly. Fascinating. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for listening. That's a good way to wrap it up. We'll see you next week on our next Friday 15.